Hi guys, my name's Heidi. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and last year I picked up the photography habit as well. I've been flying drones now for about a year and a half, and I thought I might walk you guys through some of my processes in editing videos and photos, and hopefully you pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying. Thanks. So today we're going to talk about a situation that kind of happens to me quite frequently. You know, you'll go out for a fly or you'll take your camera out and get some good shots, but the conditions, you know, the weather may not be quite right. It's a little bit overcast, the water's a little bit, you know, there may be an algae bloom in the water that's making it look really strange, green, there's a lot of seaweed, you know, things like that. And you know, you see, lo and behold, you go and see a pot of dolphins or a shark or a cool school of fish or something that's, you know, you wish that the conditions were better, and you just, you know, you kind of out there, you take the shots and come back to the studio and you check out your pictures, and they're kind of a bit disappointing. So today we're going to go through a situation like that happened to me, and I'll kind of walk you through some of the steps that I did to my photos to kind of make them look a little more presentable, more grant worthy, and maybe even sell them as a print. So yeah, come along on this journey, and hopefully I can help you out with a few tips.
So, here's a photo we've chosen. I've gone for this photo simply because there's a section here that I would like to crop in on, and I think once we crop in on it with the dolphins kind of peeking out of the water, it's going to look pretty cool. So for me, the thing that wasn't working with this shoot was the fact that the water is so green, and we'd recently had a large amount of rain that came down, and it just completely destroyed the color of the water, which is, up in Foster, it's usually so blue and clear, and there was all of the green, the water was murky, and you know, visibility was shocking. But luckily enough, on this day I was able to spot this giant pot of dolphins, just cruising really. They weren't really up to too much, just having fun. It's probably a pot of about 60 dolphins. So okay, anyway, enough rambling, we'll get started. Usually when I start editing a photo, the first thing I want to do is bring in some nice S-curves into our curves. And essentially what this does is it just kind of, I hate to use the term, but it makes the colours pop, and it just really lifts the image a bit more. The one thing to look out for though when you're creating these S-curves is always be aware of the amount that you're actually curving the channels, because if you have one channel that's particularly more curvy than the other, then obviously the image will be heavier in that particular channel, which is not ideal. And if anything here, we want to kind of be focusing on the blues because it is an aquatic scene. So at the moment, let's call that done. Perfect. Only joking, guys, we've got a long way to go yet. This green looks like the dolphins are living in a swamp. So we'll jump down into our white balance and just slightly tweak it. You want to be careful with white balance though, and these temperatures, because they apply to every aspect of the image, and not just particular elements. So if you're tweaking this image to look bluer in the white balance, then you're going to make all of your colors in your color mixer here appear bluer, which can make things look really unnatural and kind of unbecoming. So that's enough of that one for now. We're going to move down into the color mixer, and first thing I want to do is jump on top of this green. So draw up the saturation of the green, and if we are going to have green, we want it to be looking much more blue. Okay, that's kind of looking a little better. Already you can see that water kind of starting to show some of its potential. For the purples here, I always notice with dolphin shots, they tend to look a little purple, the dolphins in particular, once sometimes when you've kind of come out with the final product. So what I'm doing is, again, I'm just dropping a saturation on the pink and purple, so that we don't have that purpley, bluey, pinky tone coming through on the bodies of the dolphins. Let's do a quick check against our original. Okay, so still a bit of a way to go here. What I'd want to do here as well is just kind of bring a little more blue in. It's still kind of feeling slightly too green for me. It looks a bit like that Gatorade flavor, icy blue Gatorade, so we'll try and fix that. Okay, again, so what I'm just trying to do is eliminate those greeny yellow tones, dropping the saturation. It's always good to just check against your original as frequently as you can, because that way you can kind of see where you're from and where you're going. And it's easy to say that, but it's just a matter of making it a habit. Okay, so now what I want to do is jump into our blues and just tweak that. What I am actually going to do is bring that to about -5, and then we'll come in with a gradient and apply right at the very tippy top here. So now I've essentially created like a temperature or a color change layer. I'm going to be changing the white balance here, so I can make this as blue as I'd like it, bring that water back to a blue, and then come in with my eraser for the gradient tool and just start editing out that crazy blue over the top of the dolphins, so that they kind of look a little more natural. It doesn't look so heavily edited. So we're going to keep doing this. I'll probably fast forward this section, so I don't know, have a sip of your water or something, or your beer, or your wine, or your coffee, whatever you drink. Essentially what we're doing with this is we're creating a mask that will only be applied to the water rather than applying it to everything in the image. Obviously I'm going to go in and clean up these sloppy lines here. See which side of the dolphins the light is hitting, and then we're going to try and echo that with this light source that we're going to be adding in here. So let's just, okay, cool. So this is our light. It's coming across. And we can even give the light a tint of pink and yellow to bring in some warmth. And then again, we're going to do the same thing but replicate our shadows. So for shadows, you're going to see, just going to drop the exposure slightly, drag it out, kind of graduate that blend a little more. Whites and the highlights, and just tweak it until it kind of looks right and natural. And if it's not looking natural, then you probably put the light source in the wrong point, or you've gone wrong with one of your tones, one of your adjustments for your exposure or your lights or what have you. So just drag this dark shadow back a little. I feel like it's not working as well. And we'll reduce our highlights so that the brightest parts of the image aren't blown out. Okay, so we're looking like we've made some good improvements so far. The trick when you're editing images like this is you don't want to go too far. The further you go, the more edited and doctored the image looks. So, I mean, it is cool to create some amazing bangers, but you've got to learn to draw the line between going too far and just going enough. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to apply a texture effect to the mask, the dolphin mask we had. Remember this guy? So you can see we've just kind of deleted from the mask where the dolphins are emerging from the water, or erased. So this mask purely applies to all the water around the dolphins. And I'm just going to drop the texture on it just slightly, so that it looks like there's a little more movement. Sometimes when we're shooting, especially when we're shooting a lot of water shots and action shots, it's nice to have some movement in the things that would never be staying still in real life. For example, the water, which is constantly moving and almost an organism in of itself. So I'm just going through and tidying up the masks a bit. This guy, there. Okay, and this is probably the largest screen, unless you're planning or intending on printing. This is the largest size people are going to be viewing this image at. Remember, they're only viewing it at a small screen, small size on their phones. So it's okay sometimes to, I mean, obviously the more attention you pay to detail, the better the image is going to look. But if you only ever intend on posting it on something small, then it's up to you whether you want to spend hours painstakingly going over every detail to make sure everything's perfect. Okay, so now that's cleaned up a little. We've got original and the new one. In our current edit, just want to bring up some of my shadows a little, just so the dolphins are kind of popping a little more. So I want them to still be in contrast with the water. And then we can exposure a little. Excuse me sometimes, guys, if you can't hear me, it's because I put my hand over my mouth when I'm sitting at a desk and editing anything. It's just where my chin rests in my hand and then my fingers go in my mouth. Okay. So now I'm just gonna double check that we're happy with the crop. Again, at this point, changing the crop would mean I'd have to ensure I was masking some other elements, but sometimes it might just be the way to go. Sometimes in the Lightroom CC, this can be quite a finicky crop tool. Yeah, okay, that's not what I want. Okay, back to our good guys here. Alright. So, I mean, we've added our gradient. Now, you can see that kind of more emphasized natural light source coming across. This is without, this is with. Also doing this stuff, I always find it adds quite a bit more dimension to the image. Sometimes drone images can look quite flat when editing, just because maybe the lighting in the image may not be dynamic enough, or whatever the issue. I just like to I find that adding this kind of lighting lift or lighting emphasis just helps bring the photo together and make it alive. Okay, so now we've got our image. I'm just going to play around with how I kind of see it. I think I prefer this way. Seems to be a little more, yeah, it's definitely less upside down. So the dolphins are naturally bringing their eye to the right, which is good because our eye likes to read from left to right. So your eye feels natural being brought from this direction, from the left over to the right hand side of the screen. I think what I might do then is tweak the light, just change the direction subtly so that it's coming more from the bottom of the image, and then our shadow is coming in from the top.
Okay, so we've got our final product, the after image. Looking pretty good, I'd say. I feel like we made an overall improvement on it. Hopefully you learnt a bit from my process there and learnt a few things that you hadn't already learnt before. If you did, then good on you. If you feel like you can teach me something, drop it in the comments below. We're all learning here, right? Yeah. Look forward to seeing you in the next video, and have a great day.